Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Behind the Mic, the University of Leeds International Concert Series podcast. Tonight's a very exciting episode as we've got Bibi Thomas Gándara, a former Leeds graduate and former concert intern as well, turned assistant artist management. Thank you very much for joining us today, Bibi.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No. Delighted to have you here. Please, if you just tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes, of course. So I graduated from the University of Leeds in 2023 and I studied maths and music here. And I was also an intern in my final year of university at the International Concert Series. Since graduating, I have started working at an international artist management agency in London, looking after conductors and instrumentalists and helping their engagements around the world go smoothly.
It's very exciting. And you're here today representing Federico?
Yes, representing one of my artists, a pianist, Federico Colli, who won the 2012 Leeds International Piano Competition. So yeah, it's a full circle moment of everything coming back to Leeds.
Yeah, that's lovely. Would you tell us a little bit about how you sort of stumbled into this job, what you wanted to do from the outset of uni and how you came into it? Because it's very exciting. I'm sure lots of people would be interested in.
Yeah, so because I've always been quite indecisive, so I studied maths and music, so I never really knew what I wanted to go into. I still feel like I don't really know. I'm just keeping doing things I enjoy. So yeah, once I graduated, I realised what I enjoyed about uni. Although doing maths was interesting, it's not really something that actually makes me excited as much as doing music. And I really enjoyed my internship at the University of Leeds, helping put on concert series and liaising with international artists. I was also on the committee of the Leeds University Union Music Society for 3 years, where I did a range of roles, doing president, treasurer, and secretary. So I felt like that made me quite well-rounded to doing artist management roles. So yeah, I applied for a few different roles in London, knowing I wanted to gain further experience in arts administration of various sorts. And I came across this role at an international agency in London. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. I applied, had a few interviews, and then started a few weeks later. It was all a very quick process.
Yeah, sounds great. You've sort of answered this already, but looking back at your time at uni, which experiences do you think were like the most useful when you started looking for work, and what helped you get to the place you are today, basically?
I think definitely all the extracurricular things I've done at uni. I don't think you don't really speak much about your actual degree when you go to interviews for jobs. It's kind of about all the experience you've gained outside of that. So I think being a part of the Music Society, Looms, really helped. So I think that showed I could deal with a large amount of people and organising concerts and taking concerts on tours internationally. And also the internship here at the International Concert Series showed that I could liaise with international artists and kind of help them when you haven't met these artists before and you help them on the day, showed I could improvise to different situations and make them feel comfortable performing.
Yeah, well, it's been lovely seeing you this weekend, and obviously because I've known you quite well from your time at uni and we worked together on the exec and such. How would you say, like, if you have, since leaving university and like joining the real world of work, have you changed much and grown, I suppose?
I think I grew a lot more when I was at university, and I think university prepares you well for the outside world. I think university is a very unique place where you kind of have a full-time degree, which you're focusing on, but you want to gain so much different experience that you're doing so much work alongside that, and you get very good at juggling things. And I think now working like a 9-to-5 job where you work in those hours and that's what you do. I think the way I've grown this year is more, I've learned just how to focus my energy on one job and use my free time to explore any other hobbies I have, rather than just kind of packing in my time doing loads and loads of work. It's good to grow in different areas, try different things. And obviously moving, I'm no longer living in Leeds, moving to a different area again, you know, it's a lot to get used to.
And since leaving uni and starting, like, just working in the music industry in general, I suppose, have you sort of changed at all, like, your sort of goals, or has that sort of opened your eyes to there being other opportunities within the music industry, I suppose?
Yeah, I think when you're in Leeds, you're not Leeds specifically, but when you're at university, you're kind of so engrossed in university life and obviously your friends, the societies you're a part of. It's hard to sometimes think about life outside of university when you're in the bubble. And then when you start applying to jobs, or even once you get a job and see within a company all the different ways you can use your degree and gaining different experience, it's quite interesting. And I think I think a lot of musicians feel this, but it's not like you study medicine and you become a doctor. There's so many different paths you can go down with music, especially if you do a joint honours degree as well. Really leaves your options open. So I think, I don't know if my goals have changed because I've never had an end goal. I've never really known what I wanted, but I know from the job the bits that I really like and the bits that I don't enjoy as much. So you can build on that and work out and just keep going and decide what you want to do, really.
Just talking about things you like and what you don't like, is there any like funny stories or like the best bits of your job that you really enjoy?
Well, I obviously enjoy traveling and going to concerts. I think that's a great perk. It's great because a lot of people, when you work at an agency, you can have lots of artists on your roster that you work with, and sometimes say they only perform. They do most of their work overseas in America. You might not get a chance to meet them that often. Obviously, other times you might have artists that are a lot more European based and you'll see them more often. So I think getting to travel to meet your artists and see them perform is definitely a very nice perk to the job, and such a good learning experience seeing how an institution abroad works differently. It's really interesting. And I love listening to good music. So any excuse to go to a concert, and it's even better when it's one of your artists and you've helped organise that engagement to run smoothly.
Is there any celebrities that you've got to like schmooze and meet that you really wanted to? And if you haven't, are there any that you would like to meet while you're working?
I'm trying to think. I'd love to meet Simon Rattle. I think I'd be pretty starstruck if I met Simon Rattle, but I haven't had the chance to meet him, unfortunately. But I think that would be a pretty starstruck moment. But you're never really allowed to be starstruck when you're at concerts because you have to be professional, which is a shame. You sometimes want to fangirl inside, but unfortunately it's not possible.
Yeah, that's true. Simon Rattle would be a big one on my bucket list as well.
Yeah, we'll try and make it happen.
Meet him together.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
So I want to chat a bit more about your work whenever you were an intern here, because I was very friendly with you and a couple of the other interns, so you did sort of inspire me when I applied for the job. Really, I mentioned you in my interview and everything.
Wow, I feel honoured.
Got the bonus points in.
Yeah.
What would you say like your best experiences in the internship were? Both like from an employability. From an employability and an enjoyability. Like, what did you enjoy, and what do you think were really helpful?
I think what was really helpful, I really enjoyed kind of exactly a year ago. It was the last bit of work I did for the concert series, working at the Summer Festival in 2023. So the theme for that festival was like untold stories. So all of the performances, they were really unique. And for a whole week, I got to work for a range of different artists, which was really interesting. And one of the concerts was I can't remember, it was a collaboration with the Spanish Institute here in Leeds. and there were 2 performers from Spain, one on vocals, one on medieval harp. And it was a fantastic concert. And I've grew up speaking Spanish, but I've lost a lot of my confidence. And I kind of used that day to really get involved and look after those artists and practice my Spanish. And we did the whole day in Spanish. And I was helping doing the surtitling for their performance. So I really had to pay attention and get involved. And I think that was a nice turning point, doing that concert, because it made me realize, I can use my language skills in jobs, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But artists really appreciate when you make the effort, because obviously they're in a different place. They want to be made at home. And I felt really proud that I could be a part of their performance and kind of make it as good as it can be. And I think, from that point, I was just so happy with how that concert went. And it kind of gave me the confidence to think, I can use my language skills in jobs when I was applying for jobs. That was, probably the most enjoyable part, was just, being with the international artists.
So obviously it was great for like practicing your artist management skills. Yeah. It's really applicable to what you're doing now. Was there anything, like if you could go back and do it again with hindsight, is there any opportunities you would try and make more of in the internship? I
think the key with the internship is to take any opportunity that's given, and also work out what bits of live concert events and artist management or anything to do that you can link to the concert series, work out what you're interested in, and just ask to do it and get more experience in it. So this is something I asked to do right at the end of my internship, but it would have been great if I had done it throughout the year. To use my maths degree, I asked if I could do like a financial analysis of the ticket sales for the 2023 Summer Festival. And I did a few statistics modules in my maths degree, and I used the software that I'd learned how to use during that to kind of create a ticket model so that the concert series for next year could predict ticket sales based on different factors of an event, and kind of predict how many people were going to turn up based on how many had pre-booked, how many turned up on the day. And that was really interesting because I really kind of had to push myself out of the comfort zone. I think a lot of maths and music students kind of have imposter syndrome, thinking they're not a real mathematician and they're just kind of floating their way, hoping they get through their maths exams. And I thought, I have learned how to do some coding and work on statistics software. And I was really proud when I kind of made that model and it was actually useful to them. So I wish I'd done that throughout the whole year. And I obviously could have got a bigger model to work with. But I think the key is definitely just working out what you're interested in and just asking how you can kind of foster that interest in the concert series. Yeah,
it's one of those things really with
hindsight.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's applicable to all areas of life, but music in particular, it's so hard to get experience that you really just need to throw yourself in.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Just do everything you possibly can, really. Because you never know what you're going to end up doing. I'm sure you had no idea when you started your maths and music degree.
Yeah, I had zero idea at all.
Yeah. You touched on imposter syndrome.
Yes.
We've actually got a question from one of our employability staff asking about how you deal with feelings of insecurity or imposter syndrome when entering a creative industry.
Yeah. So I think I try and always be outward facing as confident as I can be, because I'm a firm believer in fake it until you make it. I think that is the only way to get over imposter syndrome, because when I started at the company in London, I kind of felt, I feel so inexperienced. I've only just come out of university. A lot of my colleagues were a bit older than me. I felt a bit insecure about it. And obviously my first job, I didn't know what to expect. And my friends always laugh at me when I say this, but the way I get over any feeling of insecurity is you have to think any person you ever meet, there's always going to be one thing, it might be small, that you're always better at than someone else. No one is ever completely better than you in every single way. There's always something unique that you can bring to a team that they wouldn't have thought of. And that's why you're valuable in a team. you're never there as like a pity chair in a conversation. You can always bring something unique. Everyone's had a different upbringing, and that's what I realized I could bring to my new job. Even if it was small things, I thought, I've done a maths degree, I might be more confident at this job doing the financial side of things. You have to do an artist management, and I thought that's something I should be proud of and work on.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about music in general, especially at university and like Leeds. There's so much varied stuff that there's no one that's like
the
top of the class at University of Leeds music.
It's like
be. There's such a no one can be good at the best at everything. It's so good to learn from other people and like dive into doing something new. On a bit of a different note, have you received any like really useful advice since starting as a young person entering the world of work? Does this impacted you really?
I'm trying to think. I think the main thing that you should realize going to the world of work is you're valuable and your job doesn't define you. You should never let a job define you, and it should never be the only aspect of your life that brings you joy. You should always kind of have different pockets of your life that bring you happiness, and make sure they're bringing you as much happiness as possible, because you never know. You could be made redundant. There's so many things that could happen. You could have to move location, and you don't want your life to be so heavily based in one aspect that if that changes or becomes unstable, that it kind of falls apart. So even if you're really proud of your job, you should never be working all hours of the day trying to be the best at your job that you could possibly be, because then you never know what is around the corner, and you need to build up lots of different parts of your life. I think that was really good advice, because people often think, you always want to come out the best, climb the ladder, get to the top, but at what cost, really? So I thought that's probably the best advice I've got.
I remember while you were at uni that you were playing in all sorts of ensembles and just playing anything you were asked to. I remember once I actually asked two really good trombone players if they could play something for me, and you thought I was asking you.
Yeah, I did think, surely I can learn the trombone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now entering the music industry as like a non-performing element of the music industry, I suppose. Do you like keep up your playing, or do you do anything to keep your personal music going?
Sadly, I kind of haven't, which is probably not the answer you wanted. I feel like I'm so immersed in the music industry currently that I don't feel like the fact I'm not playing it's not lacking in any way. I still play. I'll happily play on the piano at home, and it's not like I've lost that ability. But in terms of all the different groups I used to be in, I haven't really kept up with that, which is something I obviously want to rejoin and do. But I think maybe because working in an agency and representing such high level artists, you kind of forget that you're also a musician. You kind of see yourself, you think of yourself as a musician, but you're not a performer anymore, because you're not performing around the world and selling millions of tickets, which is obviously a negative thing, because I did study music until last year. It was, for many, many years. But it's something, once you leave university, you really have to make a conscious effort to keep up with, to keep up that playing if you've got a 9-to-5 job, and it doesn't come as easily as it did at university, for sure, which is a shame. But you can't keep everything in your life always. Some things have to fluctuate, and definitely. I'd love to get back into performing, but it doesn't feel like right now is the time.
Yeah, definitely. I do quite a lot of work with choirs, and one of the things I love most is that there's so many people that are just unreal singers, and they're fab, and they love doing what they do, but they've taken years of breaking, because they've become lots of nurses and school teachers and really high pressure jobs, and then years later they come back to it and love it. Yeah, which is a lovely thing about music in general, I suppose.
Exactly. It's always going to be with you. You're never going to lose that ability. If you're musical, you're musical.
So you mentioned grasping basically every opportunity you can. How has that translated to the world of work, and do you find it as easy to get those opportunities and meet new people, or are you?
Yeah, I think there's often a misconception that once you've got a job, that's it. You don't need to really put any more effort in, and that's everything. But I think networking, especially in the music industry, is a really important part of any job, no matter if you only just started at a company or you've been there forever. There are no, how do you say it? There are no disadvantages to networking with more people and getting more connections in the music industry, especially where in agencies, artists and managers move from different companies very often. It's really good to have those connections. I think especially in London, you've got quite a few major agencies that are based there. For example, you've got IMG, Harrison Parrott, Asken Holt, Intermusica, just to name a few. They're all in London. So when IAMA, which is the kind of the union for all the different agencies, when they put on events, it's really good to just go and network, even if it might be scary, because you never know who you could meet, what that could lead to. You never know what connections you're going to make. And especially as, the music industry is always changing, you never know what your job's going to look like. It's really good to always seize any opportunity that is given.
Very good. It's quite funny because I work for the Leeds Cathedral Music Department, and I'm very lucky. I've been invited to loads of these fancy conferences recently, and I went with my girlfriend, and she got so embarrassed because I was like a frantic little child running about, and I was chasing people that are like celebrities to me, but they're like,
it's got to be done.
I just love it. It's one of my favorite things. I'm asking this because I want, what answer I want, but have you had what celebrities? I'm asking again. What celebrity have you been schmoozing with? Say. Who have you been schmoozing with?
You like all the Canny Masons. You're a big fan. Yes, they're they're also part of my agency. So I've been to a few of their concerts, and we've got some of my colleagues started an inter-agency football league, which was really fun. And we've kind of invited any of the artists that were local to also play on our football team. So the Canny Masons popped along to play, and they really carried the football team. We still lost dramatically, but we would have lost even more without them. So we're very grateful to them.
And as we're recording this, Federico is preparing for his recital by watching the Italy v Switzerland game.
We're all musicians love the football.
It's intense in the music industry.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is.
Yeah. It's funny that they all got picked last in PE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they world-class musicians.
And we've just got an update. Italy's losing. Federico's not going to be happy.
Oh, he might have to cancel the concert tonight.
That's true. So just to finish, Bibi, if you could go back and chat to first year Bibi, or any of the brand new freshers, what would your little tidbits of advice be going forward?
I think for a first year, I know I definitely felt very overwhelmed coming to university. I came from an all-girls school in the south of England, and obviously it's very different coming to a big university and not really knowing where you fit in. I think musicians often find you're at school and you're top of your music class, so you want to go to university to study music. Now you're with everyone who was also top of their music class, so you're obviously going to feel insecure about your abilities. And I think you've got to remember that you're going to bring something different to the table in every situation, every group that you're in, and you just really need to make the most out of every opportunity that's given. You might be doing modules which you've never studied before, or going to societies that you've never been interested in, but you never know where your interests are going to lie and what could really lead you into something different. I don't think I would have got the job I've got now if I hadn't been an intern at the International Concert Series. So what if I hadn't applied to that? Where would I be now? So there's no there's no disadvantage to giving things a go, because it just teaches you more about yourself. So I think that's my big bit of advice.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Bibi. And thank you for joining us for the podcast. It's been so nice to see you again after so long.
It's been great to be back.
Thank you very much.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.